Hey there. I believe that this video is going to be the most important video I'm ever going to make, because I'm about to describe the actual meditation method used by the original Hermetic practitioners. This would be the tradition that was handed down through the generations from ancient Egypt all the way into the Common Era. In order to help you understand this technique, I'm going to need to talk a bit about Hermetic philosophy. And I would like to ask you to let go of any of your preconceptions as to what meditation really is. To the Hermeticists, all things were made from pure consciousness. So, everything you see, you hear, you smell, you taste, or you feel, both internally and externally, is a thought made manifest. All that varies is how solid this manifestation is. So just as you form thoughts and ideas in your mind's eye, so too are all things formed. To the Hermeticist, everything you see also radiates from an original idea, a divine blueprint or template that defines the very qualities of that thing, of that species, that invention, that substance or object. So behind all trees there is an original spirit of tree and a form of tree or idea of tree from which they all radiate. Behind all humans there is an archetype, an original concept of humanness. This realm of thoughts underlies all things and is all things. All these thoughts exist in one big thought. This mind of the divine, or big idea, has had many different names throughout the ages. By the time the teachings that the Hermeticists had written down had formed in the format that we now receive them, they were calling it to agathos, the great good, the divine goodness. The aim of Hermetic meditation is to become at one with this big picture, with this divine mind. So when the Hermetic practitioners were taking part in their incubation or meditation practices, they were not doing anything introspective. They weren't watching their own thoughts or trying to clear their own mind. They weren't focusing on their breath or repeating a mantra. No. The aim was to step beyond yourself, to let go of this limited idea and become at one with the divine, to realize your own true divine nature. It was an expansive practice where you grasped your own divinity. In order to describe the core practice, the main method that Hermetic practitioners would use to do this, I'm going to reference the Corpus Hermeticum. The first chapter of the Corpus Hermeticum is called Poimandres, And Poimandres is a corruption of an ancient Egyptian sentence that means the mind of Re, or the mind of Ra. And you can see already that this is a clear indication that this chapter would describe the method of achieving what I just laid out before you. Now, for hundreds and hundreds of years, thousands and thousands of people have read this beautiful description known as the Vision of Hermes. And they've read it as one man's enlightenment experience. But in those ancient times, they used to use story as a means to describe techniques. This actual description describes the method used to achieve that enlightenment experience. Now, we're not going to cover the whole thing. We're going to cover the section that describes the actual technique. The practitioner that is being described is very experienced, and because he achieves this sense of oneness, he goes on to have a great vision of the creation, the very method of the creation of the whole of everything. This, of course, would be the pinnacle of achievement, which would happen after a lifetime of practice. So let's step back to ancient Egypt. And the text begins. Once, when my awareness became fixed on the things that are, my mind rose to a great height, while my bodily senses became withdrawn, as in sleep, or when men are weighed down by too much food or fatigue of the body. Then I sensed a being of immeasurable proportions and infinite dimensions spoke onto me. Let's go through each one of these instructions in turn. The first sentence. Once, when my awareness became fixed on the things that are. This, to the original practitioner, would be a clear reference to a technique which involved tuning in to the big picture. This technique has been recorded covertly and overtly throughout history from ancient Egyptian times up until now, and that's something I will demonstrate in future videos. To do this, you need to simply accept all things as one. Everything you see, everything you hear, everything you feel, everything you think. All senses, your smell, your taste, your emotions. By accepting them all as one, by letting go of any distinguishing between them, this allows you to start to tune into this big idea that they all come from. This is a very powerful technique, and it takes practice to let go of the habitual separation of things. Then my mind soared to a great height. you will find that through this practice your awareness raises. You become very aware of everything internally and externally. And my bodily senses sunk and withdrew. This stage is very commonly described in other meditation disciplines. This is pratyahara, withdraw the senses. In this case, the reason why his senses start to withdraw, like a man who's eaten too much or is very tired, or someone who's going to sleep, is because he's actually going beyond this idea sense of self. He's stepped beyond himself. So the body is no longer where he resides. He's becoming a part of everything. Then, of course, he feels a sense of expansion and oneness. He knows he's achieved this goal. Then I felt as if a being of immeasurable proportions and infinite dimensions spoke to me. This is about his oneness. We need to remember that in the ancient times, words and thoughts and indeed writing were all the same thing. So we tend to reverse things. We tend to think of thinking as speaking to yourself. To them, speaking was thinking aloud. So this is when he realizes he's achieved the goal. He's become at one with this Toagathos, this mind of God. The text goes on to describe a wonderful experience he has when he pictures in his mind's eye everything he wants to know, and because he's at one with this mind of God, he can see it. But it doesn't describe the method of reversing this process. How do you come out of the meditation? This, of course, would be very obvious to the Hermetic practitioner of his day. Nothing was given away in these texts. You were expected to be able to work it out yourself. So obviously you would reverse the process. So instead of resting your mind on all the things that are, you'd start resting your mind. You'd tune back into your body and each one of your senses, and you'd reopen them and separate things so you can bring yourself back to your normal state. This is the basic technique of Hermetic meditation. Of course, there are many other special skills, all of which I hope in the future to be able to bring back for you. If you find yourself connecting with this, if you, upon watching this video, feel like this is something you've been waiting for, please check the link in the video below, and you'll be able to see the full schedule I've set myself in order to help make this tradition come to the fore. For many years, people have believed there hasn't been a Hermetic or Western meditation lineage. But that's not true. It's just never been presented in a modern, understandable way like the Eastern techniques have. And I believe it's time for these techniques to come back and to bring balance back to the world. My name is Martin Faulks, and I hope this video has been of use to anyone who is interested in the original ways of Hermes and of restoring the original Western meditation tradition. Until next time, let's let every word thought and action count.